Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to Mrs. Bandu's Math Movies. This is Course 3, Lesson 7-7, Circumference and Area of a Circle. Our goal is to find out the circumference and area of circle and the area of irregular figures. Alright, so we're just going to lay the basics down, review what our basic parts of a circle are, and basic formulas that we will need. You do not need to necessarily memorize the formulas, but really you should be getting to a point in your math career that you pretty much know these anyway. Okay, so circumference of a circle is the product of pi and the diameter d. So C equals pi d. Pi is considered a constant, so it comes first in the formula, and then the variable comes second. Or 2 pi r. It's 2 times the radius times pi. Remember that the diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. That's why you can use either formula there. The area of a circle is the product of pi and the square of the radius. So area is pi r squared. Just a reminder, order of operations, you square the radius and then you multiply by pi. But it's not the product of pi and r and then squared. So the radius squared times pi. Diameter goes all the way across, as you might recall. Radius is from the center to a point on the circle. Okay. And here we go with a few definitions. Circumference is the distance around a circle. A radius is a segment with one endpoint. Okay, I'm abbreviating because there is very little room here. So at the center, and the other endpoint on the circle. A chord is a segment with endpoints on the circle. And finally, a diameter is a chord that passes through the center of a circle. Alright, so we have a little diagram here. First of all, this distance around is circumference. Okay. The radius would be the distance from the center to a point on the circle. Radii, R-A-D-I-I, is the plural, so if you see that, don't be disturbed. Diameter is a chord that crosses through the center, so this is a diameter. And this represents a chord. You should know these parts already. If you don't, great little review right here, just of the very basics. Okay, so here we go with finding some measurements. So the diameter of a tractor tire is 125 centimeters. Find the circumference and the area round to the nearest tenth. So the formula for circumference is pi times diameter. So that's just pi times 125. In this case, go ahead and use your pi key. So pi times 125 equals, let's see, 392.7, because it asks us to go ahead and round to the nearest tenth. centimeters. The radius of the tire is 125 divided by 2, which is 62.5 centimeters. So area is pi r squared. Okay, so what you can keystroke on your calculator is pi times 62.5, hit your x squared key, and then hit the equals, and that's going to be 3,906.3, or 3,906.3 square centimeters. Okay, so it's just a matter of A, utilizing your calculator correctly, rounding to the appropriate place. Remember, pi is irrational, so we are going to almost always need to round when we do this. So pay attention to your directions and round to the appropriate place. I have to be careful of that myself, so you want to be sure that you do it. Finding the area of an irregular figure. A regular figure is simply something that we don't have a defined formula for, where we have to use common sense, math sense to figure out what's going on. Find the area of the unshaded region of the square tile with the circle inside of it as shown. Round to the nearest tenth. So basically what we want to see is we have two identifiable figures here. We have a square and we have a circle. First of all, we're going to find the area of the square. The area of the square is side squared, or s squared. So that means I'm going to take 12 and I'm going to square it, which is 144 square centimeters. The area of the circle, remember, is pi r squared. If we look here, the square, the side of a square, this square, is equal to the diameter of the circle. So I'm going to substitute in half of that, half of 12, which is 6 for radius. So pi r squared is about 113.1 square centimeters. Now, since I want the unshaded part, I'm going to subtract the area of the circle from the area of the square. So the unshaded region is about 144 square centimeters minus 113.1 square centimeters, which is about 30.9 square centimeters. Okay. Oops, can't even see that. I scribbled through and you couldn't even see it anyway. So I'm going to subtract the area of the circle, because that, I can't see that. So really I'm just trying to see how much white is, or unshaded, is left. I think of these as sort of a layering of a tablecloth and maybe a napkin, or a tablecloth, or a placemat and a plate. The plate covers up a certain amount of area. How much of the placemat is left showing? That kind of helped me get a visual of what I'm trying to do here. All right, you have a couple of quick checks to complete. Have those ready for discussion, and I'll